I'm doing stuff. Thangs. I've been doing stuff. I've got things. Stuff. Thangs.
Welcome, a Play on Nerds listeners, to the Stuff and Thangs podcast, episode number 2, a Walking Dead universe podcast. This is Jarman, a familiar voice, and I'm here with Jerry.
Hello.
Hey, Jerry, how's it going?
It's going very well. I'm excited for episode 2. Is this episode 2?
Yeah, it's like episode 4 of Fear the Walking Dead, but episode 2 for us, yeah.
Right, exactly. Well, we'll have some catching up to do, but that's fine.
Yeah. And if you're wondering, people, where Garrett is, Garrett Yoshitomi, our writer for the website, is still writing with us, but he, due to new time commitments, cannot join us on the podcast anymore for now. He might come on as a guest later on. We've been talking back and forth, so hopefully that'll happen in the near future. But for now, it's me and Jerry.
Yeah, we hope not to disappoint you terribly.
I'm sure we will. It's okay. We're used to it.
Yeah, we're used to failure.
It's the Play on Nerds way.
Yeah,
failing.
exactly. Failure is freedom.
There you go. That's like a quote that could be in a Walking Dead episode.
Yeah. It'll be a title. I'm gonna send that one over to.
That's a good one. Yeah.
The showrunners. Yeah. So okay. We covered the first episode.
Yeah. So now we're gonna recap you guys up to the episode 4. So next we're doing the 3 episodes now, 2, 3, and 4. And the first one we were just talking about before we started recording, which was We All Fall Down.
Yes.
And I'm realizing that I didn't watch that one. I skipped it by accident. So what was that one basically about, if you could tell us, Jerry?
It was basically a filler episode where Abigail needs to sort of lose the boat that they're being pursued by, which, if you recall, they were Alicia was trying to raise people on the radio and ended up getting in contact with this guy named Jack. Mm-hmm. And he seemed like a nice guy at first, as they all do. And he ended up being some sort of pirate. They came across like a sunken boat, and they kind of put 2 and 2 together and realized that they were being pursued. And in order for them to lose this other ship on the radar, they docked at this island, which was inhabited by a family. It was a man, his wife, and his 3 kids. And they were this weird miniature doom cult where they seemed really nice and great people and well-stocked and protected. But as you find out later on, as the episode goes on, the dad is a little weird. Mom's a little desperate. The oldest son's a little too militant.
And he's a redhead, so...
He has no soul.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so he's just the worst. And the kids are oblivious to it. But Nick, our handy-dandy heroin junkie, figures out that the father's planning on poisoning the rest of the family in like a murder-suicide, I guess, just to take like a painless, easy way out. And the mother tries to get Maddie, I believe, to take the youngest 2 kids, and shit goes wrong, as it always does. The little girl overdoses on the pills. She dies. The mom goes to cradle the body, and you know how that goes. The daughter wakes up, tears the mother's neck out. And, it was a really you knew it was going to happen, and stuff like this always happens in zombie apocalypse shows and movies. But it was still a little heartbreaking because you really thought that at least it would add some dynamic if there were these 2 kids on board and all this other good stuff. But it didn't work out like that. So it was just sort of like, here's these people, and now watch them die, and end episode.
What happened to the 2 boys? They also got killed?
No, they left them on the dock. The oldest boy and the youngest stood on the dock, and as the little boy is waving to Maddie and the rest of the people on Abigail, the oldest son has to snipe his mom in the head, and that's that.
Wow. And it just goes to show that I, marathon watched the last 2 episodes, 3 and 4, and I didn't seem to miss anything story-wise by not seeing this episode. So that says something, I guess.
No, I suppose it was mainly just to illustrate that, there are people that are still out there, and they're kind of I'm choking on a peanut.
That's how you went. That's how you became undead.
Please write that on a piece of cardboard and like lay that on my beheaded body. Choked on a peanut. I guess, just to illustrate that there's people out there and they're doing the best that they can, and sometimes that's not that great. It's actually pretty horrific.
And families, yeah.
It really doesn't further the plot very much. I mean, you have to go to episode 3, which was, now I don't really remember episode 3 that well. Ouroboros, yes. What do they do in that episode?
They kind of go on another island of sorts. Well, that's where the plane had crashed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they that was the wreckage of, I believe, Flight 462. But that's the one that was in the shorts.
And I haven't seen the shorts, but you mentioned those in your blog review on the website. But are they worth watching? Or are they something that's entertaining?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose as far as you can get in like 15, 30-second little snippets of story, it's basically...
Oh, that's short.
Yeah, they were shown during the commercial breaks of, I think, I believe it's if not one of the first, like the patient zero type situation, where the first people to get sick were aboard this plane.
Oh, wow.
And it crashes on this beach, and they spend the entire episode scrounging around on the beach. Yeah, I think my biggest complaint was they're still out at sea. Strand's still trying to get a hold of this mysterious person or people that he's going to meet in Mexico. That's the other thing we find out, is that they're headed to Mexico.
Like right at the end of that episode, right? Or was it towards the middle somewhere?
Well, Daniel tells Maddie that he found a map and that they're going to Mexico, and it was Rosarito, and it's just a crack up to me that Danny has to explain to Maddie what Rosarito is, as if it's not like the most popular tourist destination in Mexico. Like if you live in,
I hadn't heard of it.
Well, you know what? Everybody that thinks of Mexico, they're like, oh, Tijuana. But if you go a little further, Rosarito is actually really, really beautiful place to go, and it's pretty popular with California tourists.
Oh, gotcha. And plus, you wouldn't want to go to Tijuana nowadays, I wouldn't think.
No, well, I mean, Tijuana was sort of like the zombie apocalypse, like come to life, but now it's a lot better. There's, you can actually go there and not get arrested or shaken down. You can actually enjoy a good meal. Killed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
You could, I say, just don't get drunk. Like you can drink, but if you get drunk and you start wandering around, which you could do pretty much anywhere else, like in your hometown or whatever, don't do it in Mexico.
That's probably smart.
Yeah. That's my one piece of advice. But so they figured out Rosarito. The whole thing was that there were walker guts in the rotors and the pumps for the boat for Abigail, right. So they were stuck.
And that's when Travis becomes suddenly an expert on boat technology and scuba diving.
Right? Yeah, he's scuba certified, and he's a boat mechanic. Like,
yeah, of course.
I want there to be a backstory for Travis where he like sees that commercial that plays like at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning about becoming a boat mechanic or a motorcycle mechanic, and he's just sitting there drinking a beer, going, "Yes, I want to do that."
Or like a Viagra ad where they show somebody, working on a boat, but also scuba diving and on a beach somewhere.
Yeah. And you find out that his tightly knit curls are actually from Hair Club for Men or something like that, because, he sees the guy working on the boat and he, comes out of the pool with a full head of hair and he's like, yeah, I want that to be me. and he, like during a fight with Maddie or something like that, he takes night classes on like scuba certification or boat.
This is now his unofficial backstory for Travis.
Yeah, that's exactly. He gets into a fight and yeah.
He does say in the scene, at least, he's like, this isn't like working on a carburetor, implying that I guess he works on cars, but we didn't know that before. But that has to be nothing like fixing a boat filter. Like
Yeah, this is I'm assuming this is a multi-million-dollar yacht.
It looks like it.
Yeah, it's got the most state-of-the-art, navigation and sonar technology. You're just like, I'm just going to bang around on the pipes and, get this fucker going.
And of course, in the next episode, we'll talk about later, but he hot wires it. So, I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this guy. Like, I feel like they're being, he's MacGyver, or like making a really racist comment like that he can hot wire and steal a boat, because it's just like hot wiring and stealing a car.
And he's a minority of some sorts. That must
right,
be true.
Exactly. Yeah, he's a minority of undeterminate origin. Well, in my recap of We All Fall Down, actually, the weird father on the island pegs Travis for being Maori, and that's the first time I think he's actually ever been a Maori.
In an actual role, yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to like a Mexican or something like that.
That's funny because I saw you write that, so I was waiting for that line to happen in the last 2 episodes, and I was like, oh, it never came. That's because I didn't watch the actual episode.
Oh, see, look at that. It's all making sense. But
I need to go back and watch that now.
So there's this situation where, meanwhile, I think Chris, Nick, Ophelia, and Daniel are on the island scrounging around, and that's where they find the survivors of Flight 462, and it was 3 people. One of them ended up getting bit, I think, like that, and he's the one that was clogging up his viscera, if you will.
Yeah,
was what was clogging up the Abigail. Meanwhile, there was that guy with like the nasty, ugly sunburn.
Or, some kind of burn.
Yeah, some sort of horrible skin malady, and then the Asian woman who has a name. I know her name's not just Asian woman.
Racist.
Yeah, God. Yeah, I'm really outing myself here.
Her name was Asian woman number 2. No, that's not.
No. It was
Michelle Ong played Alex.
Alex, there you go. All right. Good job. Quicker. I'm like trying to read through my whole recap right here. And
I had the IMDb just ready to go.
Oh, yeah. That's I have to have that up because they never say like the minor characters, which we'll talk about the recap of this latest episode. Anyhow, I think the main portion of the episode is shit happens. They get chased off the beach by a bunch of walkers, and they come to some sort of agreement where they can't necessarily take the survivors on the Abigail, but they'll tow them on the boat or like on their little raft.
Yeah, they'll tow them behind them.
Yeah, until they get to the next destination, whatever that may be. But I guess I don't think they even get like a mile out before Strand gives them the chop and lets them afloat to die of exposure, which is a really horrible way to go. But
oh yeah, and like I like the fact that it makes Strand kind of a badass still, but then at the same time he has to really kind of start weighing things. It's like you can only be so much of an ass before there's more of them. They could just kill you and throw you overboard. So it's like before he was like straddling the line of like it's my boat, my rules, but now it's like you're a cold-blooded killer. We're just gonna kill you first. So I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
And he's been. It's weird to say that he's been pushing his luck because he is basically the savior of the entire group. And that's really based on, I guess, how he feels about Nick and how he sees Nick as an asset that just happens to come with all this baggage. Even though Travis proved himself useful getting Abigail running again.
Because he was MacGyver.
Because he's MacGyver. He's, Captain McBodie Guyver, whatever. But everybody else is just kind of maybe a pain in his ass. Like Daniel obviously thinks something's up, and he's just not a trusting person anyway. I don't think he really has much of an opinion about Chris, other than he's kind of a bitch.
He's still kind of that way.
Yeah, he is. And Alicia's the one that got him into this hot mess that they're still dealing with. But yeah, the episode 3 ended with them cutting the survivors loose, and episode 4 begins with how upset Travis is with Strand for doing that. Like it starts with him and Maddie in their is it a cabin on a boat?
I guess you call them cabins. Yeah,
I was going to say chamber. I don't.
It's like calling them a cruise ship anyway.
Yeah, they're quarters or something like that.
There you go.
And he actually does say that he's gonna. He wants to throw Strand overboard. And it's funny because Maddie kind of calls him on it. She's like, what are you really going to do? Like, we kind of need him. And this is the first time he's mentioned doing anything other than talking. Every time some shit goes down, Travis goes, "Well, I'll go talk to him."
He's also a master negotiator.
Yeah, he's wow. Yeah, he's like
So he thinks.
So he thinks, right? He's Kevin Spacey in that movie with I can't remember what it's called. The one with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah,
the negotiator.
Yeah, that was
it. Wow.
But I guess that we can mostly talk about this episode because it's most recent, and I actually do feel like this was almost, I hope so, the breakout episode of this show so far, to me anyways. And it's kind of different. It's breaking away from how Walking Dead really feels because the whole flashback thing to before the apocalypse is something we never saw on Walking Dead, I don't think. Did we ever see a flashback that far?
No, because when we started with Walking Dead, there's that time gap where Rick was in a coma, and then it picks up right after that, and it follows that narrative pretty strongly. We have little flashbacks with like Michonne, and just to illustrate that, she had a kid and a boyfriend.
Her nice apartment and everything.
Her nice apartment and her boyfriend's friend, and those were the two walkers that she made her entrance with. Yeah. We did sort of a, not necessarily a flashback, but a thing with the governor, and then we had a backstory of Morgan, and it wasn't even really a backstory. It was just like what he was doing before he saved Daryl and Aaron.
So really, Michonne had the only pre-apocalypse flashback.
Right, yeah. She was the only one that was shown to have like a normal life before this, and we just assume, which is interesting because they really could have, for as much filler as Walking Dead has, they could have done a backstory on, they could have, anybody. They had their pick. I'm pretty sure people were chomping at the bit to learn more about Merle and Daryl, about what they were doing before the apocalypse.
Absolutely. Drinking at their trailer.
Right, exactly. Probably beating up a gay dude or a black guy.
Probably.
Well, Merle anyway.
Now they're so sympathetic, but not anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever see the movie The Postman, by the way, with Kevin Costner?
Yes, I did.
So I know it's a horrible movie apparently to people, but I watched that so much when I was a kid. I love that movie. And the scene it makes me think of is the guy who's the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
He does this big speech to Kevin Costner about, before this, I used to be a copy salesman or copy machine salesman.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember.
And then, I love that the way that dynamic is so cool. I wish they could have had a scene like that with the governor, or even like with Negan. It's like show this badass villain warlord, and then show the shit person he was before that happened. Like he was working out of Starbucks or something, And
he's just a middle management chump who never really got any sort of respect, in civilization. Well, I think to get off track just a little bit, they're doing a Negan backstory in the comic right now.
That's right.
But yeah, it's like an untapped resource, is the backstories of all these characters.
Have you read any of that so far?
I have not. I've been on a Star Wars comic kick. So
there's a lot of new ones of that coming out too. So
yeah. So where were we in terms of Fear the Walking Dead?
Well, I did like not just the flashback, so we can get into Strand's flashback later. But it starts off with awesome Nick, who's like the only character I find. Well, him and Strand are like the characters I care about the most so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
And he's like walking out of the water naked and puts on dry clothes and puts the walker blood all over him, tricks the walker first, and that was all a really cool scene, I thought. Yeah,
it was. I was really pleased with it. And just the line to my recap, it was like a flowers blooming in my brain. It was beautiful, like. Naked heroin addict washes up on shore.
That's right. Scene opens. Naked heroin addict.
And he goes to task. Like it's interesting, like the misdirection, and he's not just using brute force because he just needs the one walker. He's not looking to fight whatever ones might be lurking around.
Yeah.
He just needs to get himself camouflaged and go on his little mission, which we really don't figure out, and the pacing of the episode is really great because as we start seeing the flashbacks, of Strand's, his purpose and his destination, all these other things that are revealed to us, sort of it parallels with how like Nick's progress on this island, or not island, but on this particular stretch of coast and on this housing tract that he finds. Really, really well well done. But then, of course, when did shit go wrong for them? Was it during? It was Chris and Ophelia talking.
Oh yeah, then suddenly the people come up in the boat. Should I shoot them? Should I shoot them?
Oh God.
He's
Really?
more and more useless all the time.
He really is he's awful.
He couldn't even kill a guy on that plane that wanted him to kill him. He kept failing.
He did, and he tries to help. The guy has his spine exposed, and
that was pretty rough.
Yeah, and then Chris has to bludgeon him, and it takes him like 4 tries. So this guy's just an absolute misery.
I mean, he's so wafy, it kind of makes sense. You can't lift that thing to kill the guy.
True, but it's a point, like, you get him in the temple with the right leverage, twist your body and heave ho. It's like chopping wood. But then what would a urban kid, Los Angeles kid know about chopping wood? So I guess you can't really blame him. But
yeah, he's not really from the project, so he doesn't know what he's doing.
No, not at all. Completely useless millennial.
I would say, yeah, he's a millennial, useless millennial. But I was to say about I'm thinking about this show and also Walking Dead is that there's typically really good looking women and then not very many good looking guys in both shows. But because even Daryl, who all the girls are obsessed about now, he's not a very good looking guy. It's just that he's very charismatic and they like his character. But same thing on this show, like a lot of beautiful women, but then the dudes are all pretty plain looking. I mean, like Nick looks like maybe like, I don't know, Johnny Depp's like heroin addict little brother or something.
He does, yeah. He looks like Johnny Depp's, like the picture of Dorian Gray. Like,
yeah, the young version.
Yeah.
I thought that was strange, but it makes things feel more realistic when there's real looking people on the show. I think that's kind of neat. But anyways, I digress. Chris was talking about his girlfriend in Pomona, which is funny. I used to live in Pomona. And his girlfriend is most certainly dead. Yeah, definitely.
But I think he was trying to flirt with Ophelia a little bit.
She kind of shut him down with that face she made.
Yeah, she did. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned in the zombie apocalypse, and rejection is still one of them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Even the apocalypse won't make you more appealing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's the friend zone still exists at the end of the world, buddy.
I'd rather just tough it in the streets than deal with having sex with you. That's what.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll take my chances. I'm fine. But yeah, then this raft out of nowhere shows up with this pregnant woman who appears to be bleeding, and these 2 guys with her, and yeah, there's no. They just barge, which is an nautical term, I believe. They barge right in and come aboard the Abigail. And yeah, Chris is terrible. He's not sure who to shoot or what to shoot or if to shoot. And he's screaming for his dad. And so Travis comes out and Maddie comes out. And, they're just so overwhelmed with the situation that, the pregnant woman sort of takes over their list of priorities, and trying to sort out if these people are good or bad sort of is way down on the priority list, which is a stupid mistake.
I guess that was the idea, though. It's just like, oh, she's pregnant and injured, we must help.
Yeah,
Ophelia just ran in there. She didn't even take a second.
Shock and awe, I guess. And it ended up working. And they separated the group perfectly. Maddie takes the pregnant girl, her name's Vita, I believe, into the bathroom. Meanwhile, I believe it's Travis, Chris, Daniel, with the other 2 guys. And meanwhile, Alicia is like waking up as if it's Saturday morning and mom's cooking breakfast. And
do.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, her blinds kind of like roll up like in the cartoons, and the sunlight like just like bursts in, and
another beautiful day.
Right, just stretches and puts on a sweater, comes outside, and like her mom's helping this woman who's got blood running down her legs, and she's pregnant. Mom, what's going on?
Who's that lady? Who is that?
Oh, must be one of her friends. Oh well, I guess I'll just see if there's any pancakes left, and goes out to where all these voices are coming from, and they purposely are playing like she's hearing these muffled voices, and she has this look like maybe she's starting to figure things out. And so once she gets on deck, where they're, these two people are trying to explain the situation to, the group. And then it dawns on her, well, that's her boyfriend, Jack. And instead of kind of like keeping her mouth shut about it or playing dumb and maybe, having a few steps of foresight, and, obviously they're going to try to get the drop off on us in a minute. So I'll just kind of pretend like I don't know what's going on. And then, I don't know, something.
Or hide or something.
Or hide. Yeah, exactly. Be the one like Steven Seagal on the boat. And
yes. Under siege.
Just right, exactly. Just under siege, and she can stalk around the boat and then take out 3 people on her own, no problem. But no, she's like,
we could have seen her turn into John McClane there for a little bit, but nope, she's just an idiot. What are you guys doing? Is that you, Jack?
Jack, so glad you made it.
Hey.
Yeah, right. Like, you're cute. And then everything just goes straight to hell as soon as she makes the connection. That's Jack. Everybody makes their move. Daniel gets disarmed like he wasn't some sort of, killing machine back wherever he's from. And
yeah, I was upset about that. I wish they would have made that more like, they immediately hit him out first or something, because I would have been like, he should have had more of a fight because he's supposed to be a badass. Yeah,
he really is. Even for his age, he still should have put up a better fight. I mean, Travis goes down that guy can barely fight off walkers, so it's no surprise that he's going to be overwhelmed by some 20-something-year-old kid. But yeah, so everybody's taken hostage. Somehow, tactically, Vita knows when to start beating the shit out of Maddie in the bathroom at the same time that they're taking over the rest of the boat. So Strand, meanwhile,
jumps off the boat, just leaves.
Well, the thing was, I think that he was thinking of staging a rescue had there been ammunition for his gun that he keeps in his trunk,
right.
but Daniel finagled that for no good reason. I mean, I see his distrust sort of fucked the whole group over right there.
Well, did we see Daniel take the ammo?
Yeah, there was when he I forgot what Strand was doing, but Daniel sneaks onto the bridge. I think it was during the 3rd episode, and is like fooling around. He finds this trunk under one of the seats, and he jimmies it open with a pocket knife somehow.
Right.
And finds the maps to Mexico, and then some other stuff, and then he finds like this semi-automatic gun, and he leaves. Yeah, he leaves that there, but I guess he took the clip. So anyhow.
Because I heard that line, I thought it was, he says, paranoid bastard. That's what Strand says. And I was like, is he talking about the Abigail guy? Like, that's his boat. Like, maybe that guy never left ammo in the gun or something. But you're right. It was, the whole time I was thinking I didn't think about it was Daniel. Yeah, Strand is too smart to not know that Daniel is sniffing around his stuff. Yeah. But so he said, well, plan B is fuck him. And he takes the raft, but, Plan
too
F,
late.
Actually,
yeah, exactly. Plan F. That's a good one. Yeah, this is Operation Fuck 'em. I'm leaving. But I guess Reed is one of the guys' names, the big shit talker of the group.
Oh God,
Reed and
really
Jack. Annoying. Yeah, it really was. They take a few pot shots at him, and they at least put a hole in his raft. I don't know, not necessarily. He looks like he got hit. He makes a noise like he got hit, but the important part was that his raft got sunk, or their raft. Yeah. And thus begins the flashbacks.
Which I thought were really interesting and cool.
Yeah, they were really well done. Doug Ray Scott, his business partner / boyfriend.
Fairly big actor for this show, too.
Very big actor, and he's pretty talented. I like him in all his little character roles like that. But so we see that maybe Strand is a real estate guy. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he's just a really convincing con artist. But he gains Thomas Abigail's trust, and during this whole Katrina thing and this real estate problems that they're having, and he ends up taking him back to his hotel room and then robbing him for all he's worth, or his credit cards at least.
And he didn't even care that he could see him do it. He was like, "Whatever, you can see me doing. I'm still taking your cards."
Yeah, exactly. And it was funny how Thomas Abigail was like, I might remember.
Yeah.
Before he kind of passes out. And I think that was a moment where Strand might have thought I got one over on this guy and there will be no consequences of that.
Yeah.
But I think the second flashback is when they catch up to him at his apartment and sort of detail all the money that he stole from Thomas, and that's when we meet Carlos. Is it Carlos?
Yep.
Okay, that's when we meet the henchman, and all these things start to unfold. But the reason why we're watching this episode is for these flashbacks, and not necessarily because we want to see these people bumbling around on the boat.
Yes.
And
we're finally getting competent people. Like, now that Strand and Carlos are going to be there, like, Carlos is going to be very capable. Obviously, you can tell he's capable with the gun, with, being roughing it, that kind of thing. And I think he acted as kind of Abigail's bodyguard for a long time, and his best friend, because they grew up together or whatever.
Right.
So that's going to be cool. But just more interesting characters that are more survivable and not whiny teenagers time. So
and that was it was really enjoyable for Nick to finally reach Carlos once you find out that that's who he was looking for this whole time. Meanwhile, this the shit show is in full swing on Abigail. He kind of, Nick, again, just all he does is ask questions and kind of plays dumb, and Carlos is just ready to lay all this whole history of, his family with Thomas Abigail's family, and, how Strand came into the picture. And, so all these pieces are just put into the puzzle for him. And it seems like he's the only one that has like an overall idea of what's happening to the group. Daniel thinks he knows, and he's relaying that information to Maddie, and Maddie's trickling it to Travis, et cetera, et cetera. But like, Nick is the one that he just sniffs out all this information, just kind of being sneaky on his own, or just being just a likable, happy-go-lucky heroin junkie.
It really is.
Yeah. And so he...
Yeah, I was kind of realizing that, like, I was trying to compare this show to The Walking Dead's start, and I think it's kind of doing something similar where there's a group forming slowly but surely, and there are some characters who are kind of acting as the mysterious one or kind of the villain, but you're not sure, like Strand, and now who is going to be. And then I think where The Walking Dead eventually went, whereas we have our group now, we know everyone there is decent and is with the group, and then we find external enemies that they focus on. But I feel like right now they're kind of still figuring out who's going to be on the set team, people.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think halfway through the season, we're going to get sort of a shakeup in the composition of the group. But for the time being, all these people need to stay together. So the whole episode aboard the Abigail was just them buying time to make a move on these pirates. Mm-hmm. And so Travis is bluffing with his boat mechanic minch, bullshit, and everybody else is just kind of sitting there in the dining area with the pregnant Vita.
And Madison is relentlessly harassing her about her child being dead.
Yeah, she's got a zombie fetus in her, and which is probably, I think they had a zombie baby in the remake of Dawn of the Dead. And do you remember that? Did you see that movie?
I don't remember. I know I've seen it a long time ago.
Okay, so I think it was Mekhi Phifer and his Russian girlfriend who was pregnant are part of the group. But she's bitten at the beginning of the movie, but they don't tell anybody. And then her pregnancy develops, and then she finally is giving birth, but she's turned.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so he's hiding her in this little baby store in the mall that they hole up in, and he won't let anybody else see her because she's already turned into a zombie, but he still thinks that there's hope for the baby. It's actually a really disturbing scene. He's got this pregnant undead woman tied to a bed, like Exorcist style.
Jeez.
And then she gives birth, and the big reveal is that it's this zombie baby, and then they shoot it in the head, and then they cut to a montage. It's really wonderful filmmaking. It's
classic.
Zack Snyder at his finest.
Oh, right, you forgot the Zack Snyder.
Yeah, so there was the hint of a zombie baby on Fear the Walking Dead, but it was just to get into Vita's head so they can sort of set the balance of power off and make a move. But before any of that happens, the rest of this pirate group led by this guy, what the hell was his name? Connor?
Connor, yeah.
Now, here's what I thought was interesting about that was it took, I don't know how long well, I guess in The Walking Dead, they were really at the mercy of these, like, the hunters, and they were at the mercy of the people in Terminus, but all that was really, like, fairly quickly resolved. And it wasn't until Negan that we see them realizing, oh shit, we might not get out of this. And so when Connor comes aboard and he's got this bravado about him, and he's this, who's well spoken, and I've been wanting to meet you, Travis, and no, lovely bow, blah blah blah. And so, like, it seems a little early for them to be introducing these, like the warlord characters, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be too soon in the apocalypse to already have a warlord person, popped up. It's like, what, a week or so? Or maybe it's been longer.
Yeah, I'm maybe, he's just a go-getter, he's an early bloomer.
And having just seeing Negan and then seeing this guy, he's just nowhere near as interesting.
I hope this guy gets his head blown off in the next episode. Like, I could care less.
Same here.
But so he boards. They leave with Travis and I think Alicia, because she sort of gets her claws into Jack with her feminine wiles, and for as much crap as I gave her earlier, she's really did sort of change the power dynamic.
At least she did that. Yeah, she really did. So got to give her credit for that. But so they leave, and all these plans of overthrowing whomever kind of go out the window, because that's when that character Red, which, I mean, she's a gorgeous redhead, but they could have probably thought of another name for her. And then the bald guy, Ben, they sort of take over and then leave Reed there too. So there's still 3 people, but, they're armed, more well armed than the original group was. Mm-hmm.
But then, which is probably the best part of the episode, they realize that Nick and his new friend Carlos are on the boat trying to catch up to Abigail. And Carlos just nonchalantly, like, has a rifle.
Which is awesome.
And headshots the both of them. I mean, he's on a raft that's like bouncing on the water, and just within, half a second of each other, he puts 2 of them down.
I'm kind of hoping he becomes a crowd favorite and like somehow becomes a big character in the show, because he's like fun and like happy and still can shoot someone in the head from a raft. So I like that kind of character.
Yeah, me too. And he's credited in the next couple of episodes at least. So
that's good.
Yeah, I think I'm saying it now. Like, they're making a big mistake if they have him do all this cool shit in like the next couple of episodes. Like, oh, let's kill him.
Well, it's kind of like with Daryl. They were supposed to kill him off early on, but then fans loved him, so he stayed on,
Yeah, well, we'll see what kind of support we have for the Hispanic Daryl.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll see how all that plays out.
Speaking of which, kind of like as casting things go, before we get to the very end of the episode, I'm noticing that Kim Dickens, who plays Maddie, is the top billing, which is great. Because I was like, Cliff is not very interesting, and I don't want just another Rick. Like,
mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I'm kind of happy that they're maybe we'll push Maddie as like the leader of the group, and it doesn't have to be a dude. Like, make it the woman for once,
Yeah. Well, and I think I mentioned that too, that there was a look she gave Strand.
Mm.
And I think it was after that he had cut the people loose from the back of Abigail, but she looked at him like she really could kill somebody. And she's the first person that runs that Reed guy through on a crowbar or something god-awful like that. Yeah.
And also Strand says, "You're not a killer." And she looks at him as if saying, I think I am.
Yeah. Bitch, try me. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, this sort of kind of puts our heroes into this situation where it's not just killing walkers, it's also worrying about the danger of other people too, which, I mean, the whole dynamic of The Walking Dead was like, oh, it's people that we have to worry about. And it took them 6 seasons to figure that one out. But, right away. So at the end, we sort of get Strand's backstory and how all this ties into Abigail and the Abigail and where they're going. Final flashback. And then he's rescued, but it's only because Carlos won't leave without him. Daniel wants to leave without him, but Daniel's an asshole, so it's like...
And they also kind of want to go to that house in Mexico because it sounded good.
It sounded good. Like I was thinking to myself, if the people in Abigail knew where they were going when they showed it in the flashback, I was like, damn, I don't care if I were to last only about a week or two in a place like that. I mean, that would be a good end of my life.
It looked
just hanging
gorgeous.
out there. Yeah, it was great. But so we have this dynamic. Well, I guess it's not really dynamic, but it's a situation where Travis and Alicia are still gone with Connor. Red, Ben, and Reed are Dunzo. And Strand is of indeterminate health.
And
then
Maddie rescues him at the end.
Right, exactly, which is interesting because we were just talking about how she gave him that dirty ass look.
Yeah.
But I think overall she realizes that the group needs him at least until they get to where they're going, and at least until they get into land. And then they can go their separate ways or fight it out or whatever, but they at least need to get to this place in Mexico.
And there's that whole scene where Travis. I'm looking at the actor's name. But, where he's working on the boat, and she comes in there and talks to him about going to Mexico, and he's like, well, you didn't even talk to me about it yet. It's like you've already decided. And I think they're going to have an issue with society and that stupid dynamic, because every time Rick would say something to Lori, it's like, you got to listen to me, Lori. I know what I'm doing. And she's like, okay. But now it's like, if Kim says that or if Madison says that to Travis, and people are going to be like, oh, is he just going to listen to everything she says? He must be whipped or something. It's like, no, like she just should be in charge, like, So I bet he'll have to die for her to like then just take charge of the group and not have like a husband character there.
Right.
But that I wouldn't care if she told him what to do, but I don't think society and audiences are going to let that happen.
No, he needs to be the Lori of this show, where he's there for a little bit, but
he gets pregnant, then he dies.
he cheats, and then he gets man pregnant, and then he dies a sad death. Well, no, what I think is going to happen, might even happen in the season finale, is I think both Chris and Travis are going to go out.
Really?
And just sort of get rid of the whole Manoa bloodline in one fell swoop.
So you really believe that'll happen?
I think one or both are going to go out at the end of this season, because unless they do some really good character building between now and then, like nobody's going to care if anybody else dies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's actually a segment I think we should make in this show is Death Watch. So at the end of every episode, we'll have Death Watch, and we'll say who we think the next main-ish character is that's going to die. So you think the next main character to die is going to be one of the Manawa, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. I thought it was Manawa. But,
or Manawa? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Manowar. I don't know. Well, when Travis introduces himself to the weird, creepy dad on the island, he says his last name, and I think it was Manoa, but...
That sounds right.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch it, and then you'll have to get back to me.
So, yeah, I was trying to think of who I think the first character to die is going to be. I don't think it'll be Alicia or Nick, because, Alicia's like the only, gorgeous girl on the show. I mean, Ophelia is really, really attractive, too, but...
Yeah.
Nick is too much fun. He's great. They wouldn't kill him.
Nope.
Maddie's setting up to be the leader, so they could throw us off by killing her, but that would really suck.
Yeah.
But
it would be a step backwards.
Yeah. I don't think Victor's going to die. I mean, if we're following Walking Dead rules, though, once you show someone's backstory in an episode, they usually die immediately. So
but I think they're setting it up for something really big to happen with Thomas Abigail himself.
Yeah. Because
we're assuming that he's waiting there with Carlos's mother.
He's still
and
alive.
It's going to be like, that there's going to be this great homecoming. It might not be like that.
Yeah.
So we'll just, here's the thing is like, and Carlos was telling Nick all this information where he said that they're meeting up with a flotilla, which is a small fleet in Spanish. So I think there might be some sort of military-ish group that they're meeting up with, and there was going to be an exchange of money, because he was telling Nick that he only brought enough money for so many people to buy their way into this flotilla.
That's true.
And I dropped my pronunciation pretty quickly.
Thanks, man. Because I can't say it like that. It's not cool.
Yeah. Well, I think the only time people have heard the word flotilla is in the Mass Effect games.
Oh, I read a lot of fantasy books, so I heard a lot. But yeah, it's in Mass Effect a lot too. You're right.
Yeah. But so there's obviously there's going to be a doorman of sorts for the group to have to get past soon. So,
well, I wonder why they'd care about money at this point. Why would that matter? You think they want goods, not money?
well, if they know something that the rest of the world doesn't,
True.
where they believe in still a semi-functional society where money does, make a statement, then, but again, we'll have to see, because it seems like Thomas Abigail and his whole group, Carlos and his mother, and bringing Strand along is a lot more well-connected. Like, we got a hint of that when he tracked down Strand, but I think he's way more connected to what's really going on in the world than, was shown in the flashback. So,
well, that brings up a good question. Do you think what some people have guessed or rumored that this show might actually get to the bottom of what happened with the zombie virus?
Yeah, I think that's actually, and I personally haven't read anything like that, but now that you say it, yeah, these, Strand could be just a really itty bitty, teeny tiny tentacle of a much greater beast that is behind this whole outbreak. Either on purpose or by accident, they were trying to do something that failed, or this is exactly what they wanted to happen. And yeah, maybe this show is, it's called Fear the Walking Dead. I think the point of it is to teach us to fear what's, the world that they had created. I don't know. I'm just
it's possible
pulling stuff out of my ass.
Well, also, like Abigail guy, he seems even more well connected. He's independently wealthy above Strand, so he might be connected to some part of the conspiracy of whatever happened. So, if they keep his character on, because it's an expensive actor, so we'll see.
Yeah. They probably can't afford him for too much longer, but he did. There was the exchange about Strand meeting the council about the purchase of the land.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Yeah, and why is it the council? Why isn't it like a board of trustees,
like the Illuminati or something? Or
yeah, exactly. and Abigail could care less about the council, and wants to have more hand-holdy, drinky time.
You put things so well, Jerry.
I'm fucking eloquent, I gotta tell you.
I'm, what do you call it? Good with words. That's what it is.
Yeah, that word usage thing, whatever you fucking call it. But yeah, so I'm, I was kind of flip-floppy about how easily, the rest of the group was taken down, but they did a hell of a job storytelling-wise by, giving us a little glimpse into Strand, and introducing Carlos was, that action scene lasted, 5 seconds, and I was like, fuck yeah, that's great. Headshots.
Headshots.
Yeah.
And now that he's there, we might have more of those kind of scenes, hopefully.
Exactly. You get really tired of, like, all this labored bludgeoning and, oh God, I fell over and I fell over again and there's a zombie on top of me. No, we want some, like, quick, clean action,
Yeah, if I wanted that, I'd watch wrestling or something.
Exactly, yeah. Except it's greasy men instead of zombies.
Oh, yeah. That's wrestling.
Yeah. So what do you think we covered it all here?
I think so. That's the end of that episode. And the next one is called what now? It's going to be, let's see, I'm looking at my IMDb.
Everybody gets kicked in the dick.
If only. It's called Captive. Apparently, it says Alicia works toward reuniting with her family. Travis comes across a familiar face. Madison and Nick try to save their family against all odds. Sounds like a lot of the episodes.
Oh dear, yeah, that's vague. I don't like that.
But we'll see what that is next week, I suppose.
Yeah, we will. Tune in next week.
Yeah, so that's about it. Anything else you wanted to mention for this episode?
No, just keep reading the recaps and reviews. It'd be great to get some feedback about that, either on the website or do we still have the email up?
Yeah, if you want to email us at stuffandthangs, that's THANGS, at playonnerds.com, and just ask us questions, things you want us to talk about, theories you have, characters you want to die or you want to live, all that kind of stuff.
If you want to join in on the Deadpool, by all means.
I almost thought of calling it Deadpool, and I was like, oh, that's already Deadpool.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're going to have a tough time with that one.
Cool. Well, that about covers it. Now, if you want to get in contact with Jerry, how do they do that?
Let's see. If you want to get in contact with me,
you got Twitter, right?
Yeah, I have. Frank and Jerry on Twitter. Let me double check that. I have so many personas. I have so many things.
Frank and Jerry. I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah. My Twitter handle's at Frank and Jerry. You can follow me on Instagram. It's got nothing to do with Fear the Walking Dead, but I'm at Geraldo Pedro, all one word. Please don't stalk me, or if you do, be interesting, I guess.
Play on Nerds just followed you on Twitter.
Bam! There it is.
There you go. You got 27 followers, man.
Fuck
Keep it
yeah.
up there.
I am coming up in the Twitterverse.
But if you want to research me or you want to find me for any reason, you can just email me, jarman@aplayonnerds.com. There you go, folks. Or follow us on Twitter and all that jazz, which you'll probably hear at the end of this episode anyway. So there you go.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
See you next week.
Stuff. I'm doing stuff. Thangs. I've been doing stuff. I've got things. Stuff. Thangs.
If you'd like to find out more about us, you can always check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/aplayonnerds.
Or check us out on Twitter and Instagram at aplayonnerds.
We're also streaming live game content all the time on twitch.tv/aplayonnerds.
Fun videos and stuff to check out, youtube.com/playonnerds.
And also please subscribe to us on iTunes and leave a review if possible, because that lets us be easily searched in the iTunes search index for podcasts.
Check us out at our website, www.aplayonnerds.com, where all this content can be found at the tip of your fingers.
And you can also always email us at anything@aplayonnerds.com.
We just want to hear from you. However you do it, check us out.
And how?